In February 2013, a California couple named John and Mary were out walking their dog one day when they saw a mysterious rusty tin can sticking out of the ground. Mary noticed the can and John went over immediately curious and tried to pick it up. But it was stuck in the dirt, and when he finally got it out, it was so heavy he thought it might be full of lead paint. As he was carrying it back to the house, the can cracked, revealing the edge of a single gold coin. Furiously, John and Mary returned to the site where they found the can, began digging, found 8 more cans containing 1,427 gold coins from the 1800s, making their discovery the largest known collection of buried gold coins ever found in the United States. Now, the crazy thing about John and Mary's story is when they first found their collection worth over $10 million in gold coins. The running theory was that these coins represented the discovery of a 1901 theft from the San Francisco Mint. And if that's true, this California couple solved a 112-year-old crime by finding 1,400 gold coins originally valued at around $30,000 and now, when discovered, worth over $10 million. But what's even crazier is that as of yesterday, the US Department of Justice decided to absolutely one-up John and Mary's story. A very similar set of details, solving a crime that many thought would go unsolved forever. Conducting the largest seizure of money in all of US history. The only difference is that they didn't see a tin can poking out of the ground. It wasn't rusty, they didn't use shovels, and it wasn't even physical gold. It was Bitcoin. Yesterday, the US Department of Justice seized $3.6 billion worth of stolen Bitcoin from the second largest cryptocurrency hack in history. In 2016, an exchange called Bitfinex, which you're probably familiar with, was hacked and over 120,000 Bitcoin were stolen. At the time in 2016, that Bitcoin was worth roughly $71 million. The exchange was absolutely devastated, and there was little to no hope that the Bitcoin would ever be found. But as of yesterday, the US Department of Justice found it. Using the blockchain, they were able to link it back to 2 people that they've arrested, a couple that pulled off this entire heist by themselves and have been attempting to launder the 100,000 plus Bitcoin that they stole since. So let's break down the story a little bit, because it's not only the largest financial seizure in US Department of Justice history, but it's recovery of the second largest cryptocurrency hack, and I think it has massive implications for the future of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, law enforcement, and the US government. So it's always funny when mainstream media and cryptocurrency intersect, because there's obviously still a bit of a gap in understanding between cryptocurrency and blockchain technology and how the news about it is reported. First of all, a lot of the headlines around this story refer to the Bitcoin as hacked Bitcoin. And remember, in order for Bitcoin to be truly hacked, there's something that's called the 51% rule. The magic of the Bitcoin blockchain is that every node or computer running on the Bitcoin network is actively working to protect and verify the transactions on the blockchain. So in order for Bitcoin to truly be hacked, more than 50% of the nodes in the network need to all be hacked and agree and coordinate with each other to falsify transaction history on the Bitcoin blockchain. And because that level of coordination and the network size of Bitcoin, that is basically seen today by most experts as a near impossibility. So this Bitcoin wasn't hacked, but it takes a lot less, especially back in 2016 when this crime happened, to hack a cryptocurrency exchange. See, the reason that this couple was able to obtain these Bitcoin in the first place was because the Bitcoin that they stole was being stored on the exchange Bitfinex. When you own Bitcoin, unless you don't have your private keys and you have a custodial account, you have 2 options. One, you can keep your Bitcoin in what's called a hot wallet, which is always connected to the internet, and if kept on an exchange is subject to potential cyber attacks. Or you can keep your Bitcoin on a cold wallet, which is literally a hard drive, and the only way that someone would be able to steal your Bitcoin is if they had your private key and that physical hard drive. The only reason they were able to steal this many Bitcoin was because they were able to hack into people's hot wallets where the Bitcoin was being kept on the exchange. The other important thing that a lot of people seem to be freaking out about is that the government somehow seized this Bitcoin, when one of the primary narratives about Bitcoin is that it's unseizable, not controlled by the government, decentralized, and anonymous. Well, that's where there's actually a ton of irony in this story. The couple who stole this Bitcoin had an encrypted file on a Dropbox account. The government was able to locate this file because it was being stored on the cloud in Dropbox, and they were able to decrypt it. Nothing to do with cryptocurrency or blockchain or Bitcoin. And when they decrypted the file, they found that it was literally an Excel sheet that had all of the location of all of the money, where it had moved, and all of the private keys to all of the wallets that the money was currently being stored in, which to me literally sounds like a movie. They hacked an exchange and stole money from digital hot wallets, and then they literally kept all the information about where they had their Bitcoin in a file, all in one place, in Dropbox on the cloud. Doesn't make any sense. It's hilarious. Not to make any unnecessary light out of this situation, but I think that's just so ironic. So that's the reason that the US Department of Justice was able to seize that money. And remember, they haven't successfully found all of the stolen Bitcoin yet. They found 3.6 billion out of the 4.5 billion so far. The last question that I don't know if we totally have the answer to yet, but I think that's important to ask, is where does all this Bitcoin go now? Well, right now it's the property of the US Department of Justice and the US government. And Bitfinex has already made the reparations that it promised to its customers. So we don't exactly know what's going to happen with it yet, and it obviously belongs to the customers from which it was stolen, but technically Bitfinex came up with a plan to compensate them and give them another virtual currency that's value actually shot up 50% yesterday because of the news. So legally, I guess they've already been compensated, and we'll have to see what happens. Another ironic twist in this story is that despite the US government's slowness to adopt, make policy, and make stances on cryptocurrency, they now are one of the largest holders in the world of Bitcoin. Again, this story just can't get any more ironic. Ultimately though, I think this will end up being one of the most positive stories for Bitcoin and future implications of cryptocurrency that we've seen up until this point. Think about it. It represents a large-scale cooperation between blockchain technology and the US government and law enforcement. If this were cash or gold, like we talked about earlier, this money would have been impossible to trace. If you read the US Department of Justice's report, they outline the details of every single move that the hacker couple made to transfer Bitcoin between multiple different wallets, different accounts, different currencies, but it's all tracked, immutable, and absolutely verifiable on the blockchain. And that's literally the main reason why this investigation was able to continue for all these years. They were able to track the money and then able to pin it to two people and immediately arrest them as soon as the news came out. Bitcoin has had a bad reputation for a long time about being associated with illicit activity, being untraceable, being anonymous, being associated with the dark web. But this story, I hope, changes the narrative worldwide about Bitcoin and the value of blockchain. So leave a comment down below about what you think of this story. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to hit the like button. It really helps me out and helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Make sure to subscribe to the Wall Street Survivor channel. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Peace.